welcome back to the Diamond Breakfast. In my hands is a book. It's called Ailey, Turn Your Uniqueness into Greatness. It's by a 17-year-old author. Who knows, maybe even next year she could be one to take up a portier. But, you know, I'm curious to know what this book is all about. And I can't believe you're only 17 years old. But Mwewa Fumbeshi is with me this morning. 17 years old and a writer.
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. What got you into writing?
I love writing. It's a hobby that I adopted at a young age. I love English. I believe that writing is a way of expressing yourself, just putting your emotions into words. And I just love writing and expressing and just helping people through my writing.
Yeah.
And I wrote this book just so that people can be able to discover their identity, see themselves as who they are as opposed to seeing themselves as the opinions that are thrown at them.
Wow. So what inspired you to write this book?
Growing up, I always believed that who I was the opinions of other people. And everything that was surrounding me, my environment, whether good or bad, I always adopted what people told me. And eventually I was like, this is not right. I'm supposed to be who I am, who I've been designed to be. And I went on a self-discovery journey, just finding out who I am as a person as opposed to what other people say about me.
Yeah.
Finding a book was very difficult. Obviously, there was no book that catered to what I was going through. And so I wrote this book so that other generations can have a book that I never had.
Wow. And in this book, it talks about how you navigating through a world of diversity, you know, facing being shunned by a flying colony. Along her path, she meets a diverse cast of characters who help us see her value of her differences. Wow, this seems like pretty deep for a 17-year-old. Seems like a lot, but I'm going to pick a random page anyway, and I want you to tell me more about this chapter. So I'm on chapter 4, and it's Queen Lynn and Grim, her chief advisor. So tell me a little bit more about this chapter.
In life, we have people who are in leadership positions. You are always somehow the subordinate wherever you go, whether it's in class, your career, your company. This chapter, I was introducing the leadership people in her life, the people who had her back, and the people who never had her back. Queen Lynn was sort of a mentor for her. She was able to go to her and just be able to learn, as opposed to Grim, who was jealous of her. And those two characters just play a role in your self-discovery journey. They play a role in how you see yourself, and they play a role in also how you just develop as a person.
Okay. And I'm looking, you know, as I flip through these pages, you know, like after each chapter, it seems like you have a questionnaire.
Yes.
What is that about?
So it's a reflection for each chapter. I'm a believer in action. I'm a believer in doing what you have learned throughout the chapter. Okay. So each chapter is very important, and you need an action point. As human beings, we're action-oriented, we're not programmed. So each chapter has a reflection, just so that after you read, you're able to act it out. You're able to at least see it work in your life, as opposed to just reading and moving on to the next chapter without fully understanding what you have read.
Yeah. Okay, so chapter 8, I guess, is on reflection, right? Or is it? No, so chapter 8 is Angel rescued from lizard, personal identity, and critical decision making. One of the questions that you pose here is, you know, questioning if one struggles with personal identity. Why, you know, that question, and why do you think that is important, especially for young people today? You know, there's a lot of talk about Gen Z and and all of that. So, you know, tell me more also about, I mean, because it's such a specific question also. So why do you structure the questions the way that they come out?
Young people are more susceptible to peer pressure. Everything that comes around them, they're like a sponge. So they just sucking whatever is in their environment. And people, when they grow up to their 20s, 30s, 40s, they discover that who they are is not dependent on their personal journey and their personal identity, but more so their friend groups. They believe that, no, I'm this one's friend, my job is my identity, my grades are my identity. who social media tells me I am is my identity, that chapter just brings out and elevates the idea that who you are is not dependent on everything around you, but who you are inside of you. So that chapter just brings out Ailey, and how Ailey was just able to see that who she is not her weakness, but her uniqueness.
So what challenges did you have putting this book together?
We all have challenges in life. We all have things that create barriers. I'm just very fortunate to have supportive parents and a supportive family. So even if there were any challenges, I never really saw them, because I do believe that everything that comes your way is in God's plan.
Yeah. So this, I mean, you know, based on how you've pulled this book together, I would say it's like a self-help book, you know. So how different is this self-help book, other than the fact that it was written by a 17-year-old? How different is this from all the others?
That's a very good question. You see self-help books all around, everywhere in bookstores. This book is unique because it has reflection questions. Not every day when you find a reflection question after every chapter. This book is action-oriented. You're able to read and you put it into practice. You're able to see your life change. And the good part about this book, you can go back to it. Just because you finish the book, you reach the last chapter, doesn't mean that the book has ended. Actually, when you reach the last chapter, that's when the book has begun. Because you're the book. You end up reading yourself, reading your life, and seeing that at the end of the day, the book is not that, but it's you.
I like that. You are the book. I feel like that is the quote for Monday. You know, for the early riser thoughts that we do on the Diamond Breakfast, I feel like that is the quote for Monday. But also, lastly, I mean, what next for you? Well, I mean, is this your first book?
Yes, it is my first book.
So what next? You know, what do you think your journey looks like now?
I love writing and I love helping people. So those two things just coupled together just create literature and just a book in general. And I would love to continue writing books. Maybe once a year I'd release a book. Because I think authenticity is important. I write about what I'm going through. I wrote this book during the time when I was also like Ailey. I was navigating myself, navigating who I am. And so as I go on, I just want to make it as relatable as possible, just so that everyone is able to see that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Wow. And, okay, I know it's supposed to be winding up, but I feel like I have so many questions for you. But they say Zambians don't read. You know, they say a lot of Zambians, we've got a poor reading culture. We're not those people that enjoy reading much. And, you know, sometimes it's pretty evident, especially with the youth, you know. How would you encourage people to read?
I would encourage people to read by reading one chapter a day. I think it's important at least to read maybe even 2 pages of words a day, so that you just create that reading culture. And they can find this book in Book World at 250 kwacha. They're able to get that book as well. And on the website, we have a website, I'm sure, which will be posted on socials, that they can just get. And if they're outside of Lusaka, they're able to receive it via delivery. And then they can also text and WhatsApp a number, and we'll be able to deliver it at their doorstep. So I believe that just finding a way of getting the book. I think a lot of Zambians don't like reading because they don't have the means to get a book. And so just creating these accessible and convenient platforms that they can get the book, we just encourage them. Wow,
that's amazing. Well, Fumbeshi, pleasure to have met you today.
Thank you very much.
A great pleasure to have met you. The book is out. It's called Ailey, Turn Your Uniqueness into Greatness. You can pick up yourself a copy from Book World, you said, right?
Yes.
At only 250 kwacha. So please, she's also encouraging us to read a page a day. That's all you need to do to improve your language, your literature, your reading culture, is just by reading at least a page a day. We're going to take a short break, and when we do get back, we continue with the Diamond Breakfast. So see you after the short break.